We've got some fresh new young talent doing some things that I know you haven't heard before.
1, 2, 3, listen.
You got to have the why, and we know our why. So
you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Yeah. Millions and millions of people have done this already. You can get help, you can get a roadmap, you can save a lot of time, money, and frustration. Welcome to the Value Add Podcast with K&K. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Value Add Podcast with K&K. Today, we have Crystal Lowery back on the show. If you guys didn't hear the first one, Crystal is a personal trainer. She was a former fitness competitor, and now she's starting her own YouTube channel. So we can talk a little bit about that as well. But we're glad to have Crystal back, and today we are going to talk about nutrition.
Awesome. Thanks so much, you guys, for having me back. I'm really excited to dive into the nutrition piece. I think last time we just were at the tail end of our conversations and wanted to go so much deeper into nutrition. So I'm really excited to see what you guys have come up with for me. I think you got some questions.
Yes, that is true.
We're all trying to eat healthy.
We're all
not everybody, but if you want to try to eat healthy.
It's coming back around again because I think it was the beginning of the year when people were on their New Year's goals, and now
summer.
Yeah, now we're circling back. People have probably fallen off, but now they need their summer bodies back. So This is a perfect time for the episode. So
it definitely changes with the seasons. But hey, it doesn't have to, but it does. So we'll
can
talk about the fact that it does.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's start off right away. I mean, what is it? We're talking a little bit about clean eating. What is that exactly?
Well, I think that's a term that has been thrown around so frequently, probably most often than anything else that we're going to talk about today, clean eating. So most people actually are very aware of that, and they understand that to be food in its cleanest form, its most natural form, least amount of processed, trying not to eat out of packages. So that's really how I do that blanket statement. Clean eating is the least amount of ingredients. And what's going on?
Paco eats the gummy
bears. Opens a package, he's going to open. He said that.
In the background, it's
Paco. He's like, he just threw it down too. Oh my
candy, corn nuts. Yeah, we'll talk about the labeled ingredients there. That probably did not grow in the garden.
Definitely.
That's what you say, huh? If it didn't grow in the garden, then it's like it's not a problem, but
it's not clean eating if it didn't.
So clean eating, it could just be the least amount of processed food as possible. Is somebody going to eat?
Do you eat something in a package?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, not a lot, but I do.
But it's selective.
Yes. Now,
from where?
Why would it be selective?
From where?
I'm going to look at the ingredients first. So I think that's important.
Like, do you shop at a certain store and get it, or?
I shop around. I'm not a particular, it has to be one store. So I bounce around. I mean, occasionally I go to a Trader Joe's. I might be at a Sprouts. Maybe it's a Whole Foods. I mean, very rarely do I actually walk into a regular grocery store.
Okay.
And that would be maybe odd for our audience to hear. Very rarely do I go in a regular grocery store. I will, but I find that in a regular grocery store, it's like, wow, because of what I know about nutrition, I have to really hunt to find what it is I'm looking for. So if I'm going to buy something in a package, I'm going to flip it over. I'm not looking at the calories. I'm not looking at anything else first other than I'm going to look at the ingredients. What is it comprised of? I want to be able to read the ingredients. If I can identify them, my body can as well. If I start stumbling on words like I cannot pronounce that, I don't even, what is it, blah, 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 with the disodium, blah, blah.
That's a problem.
Your body doesn't know what to do with that either.
Yeah. I think I see that a lot though, because I look at our stuff, and that's why I was just gonna say, what are some of the things that you don't want to see for sure? So that's a good rule of thumb, that if you can't pronounce the name,
it's probably a problem,
or it sounds like something very scientific.
It's a problem because it's gonna eventually be a problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to look, and the way something else that we might not know, or the audience might know, is the order that they're listed in is the from the largest quantity to the smallest. So, for example, if second is the sugar is the second ingredient, that's the second most prominent ingredient in that food. If sugar is the first ingredient, which in the gummy bears over here, looking at them.
Oh my gosh. I thought I was gonna get the finger for a minute. No.
It says made with real fruit juice.
Made with real fruit juice. And if you flip it over, it's like it has a hint. It has 10% fruit juice. So it is. It's very.
Actually, when you're done, I want to borrow that. Like, no, seriously, I want to borrow.
We'll look at it for sure. Let's dissect it, right?
Yeah.
And this is
right now.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
There you go.
Oh wait,
Here.
it's
Let's
Let
almost
Crystal
like
look at it. Let Crystal
Oh
look
my gosh! Look at the second ingredient.
what is it?
Sugar.
Corn syrup is the
And
first
sugar.
one.
Oh, even better. You get a double dose.
Okay, let's see.
This is not a good example, you guys. This is like.
This
Hey,
is a
Monty,
good
give
example
me
of what
hey,
not
Monty,
to eat.
Do me a favor. Crystal, you just bought some of that stuff. Just grab one of those. No, because I want to go through something we're actually looking at.
Let's do it.
She got
because-
something, and they said it's healthy. Let's see if it's.
So you guys are new parents.
Well,
so
my
let's
mom
talk
worked
about this.
Yeah.
So as new parents, you're is Harlow starting to
Yeah.
eat cereal?
We're-
I was just gonna say, okay, so she has that Stony Bridge or whatever yogurt that the nanny bought her, and I was like, I don't know that I want this because I'm pretty sure that the third ingredient is cane sugar. It's up there at the
Yep.
front.
Start looking.
Start with the fact that it says organic, too.
Like she said, it doesn't
no, but
matter.
the Stony thing too, it's organic, and it says only 2.25% sugar versus the competing 4% in the leading kids yogurt. And I was like, I don't think I want her to eat this. I'd rather just buy Greek yogurt and put real fruit and maybe honey or something.
Absolutely.
Who bought all
Absolutely.
this?
Okay.
This isn't healthy.
You get to control what you're putting in. So this is kind of a big message. I know we got a lot to go over, and we're going to probably have to do a third podcast
Oh my gosh.
we're gonna every label that's in this studio is going to come out right now. So there's a couple things I want to touch back on Harlow. So for baby, as a new parent, you are you're so protective of your first child. By the time you have your fifth one, no, I'm sorry, Crystal, I know you're not having five, but
Okay, just two, just two.
Yeah.
you carry them by their foot and you're like, say what? But you want to be, first of all, children or not, be very aware of marketing and how things are advertised, what they're listed
Organic,
as,
yeah.
What is it saying, and all the companies are out there competing. I mean, that's just the way it is, right?
Yeah.
Everything is competing. You want to be educated enough so you can look at these things and make an intelligent, educated decision of what's best for you and your family. So, for Harlow, when you're looking at something that's already pre-made and marketed to you that maybe it's what's best, you know enough about nutrition, Crystal, and so do you, Kenny, that you're like, you know what, wouldn't I be better off if I bought the Greek yogurt, had some natural fruit,
That's what
and
you
put
just
a
said.
little bit of honey in it, because
That's what we said.
now
Yeah.
I get to control what I put in her body. She can't make that decision right now, but you can.
Yes.
And that is amazing. Now, the reason people lean more into these, let's talk about Yoplait yogurt. That's not what you're feeding her. You were talking about the Stony Brook?
I think it's Stony Brook or
Stony
something
Brook,
like that. Yeah.
The way it's marketed is like, this is healthy for you and your baby. And you start looking at the ingredients and you're like, modified cornstarch and high fructose corn syrup. And you're like, but where's the fruit? Where's the yogurt? Where's the yogurt?
I love how it says
And
it says organic.
It's no
big.
wonder that Harlow freaking loves that yogurt. She's like,
Yeah.
you don't even eat because I make everything. We make everything, I'll get actual peas and, do the baby food and actual apples if I'm going to give her something. And now it's like, I have to fight now with the yogurt. That's why I'm like, no, this stuff is going in the trash.
Yeah.
We can't
so
do this.
you can start to control what you're putting in, and we can control what we put in our bodies. That's the whole lesson here. When you start to understand what you're putting in, now you can make a choice. So going out to restaurants, for example, it's not like people are going to say, oh, I can never go to a restaurant if you're clean eating, but I love cooking at home, and that's just something I'm really fascinated about, and I've learned so much about food. I want to know what's going in my body.
Is that why it's important to you, because you want to know what's going in your body?
Absolutely. And that is why I'm launching the Crystal's Kitchen, and I'm taking recipes that you might get in a restaurant, but I'm bringing it home. I'm modifying it. I'm controlling what I'm putting in. I'm using the highest quality ingredients I can, whether it's, all organic. I know what I'm putting in. I know where everything came from. I know how much is going in there, and I'm, maximizing how I want that to taste. And I still want it to have that wow factor. So, our film crew here, Paco, is like, hey, I get to sample your food. And you're right, Crystal. It's like, I get that food in a restaurant, but I have yours. And, and so that it's that contrast and comparison to understand that I am adamant about what I'm putting in my body.
So let me ask you a question. So, okay, you're gonna start cooking, right? So do you use olive oil to grease the pan?
I use olive oil. I use coconut oil. I use grapeseed oil. I use a lot
I
of
heard
different
ghee
oils.
is good.
Ghee is excellent.
Okay.
Okay, so let's just go through what's something you're gonna what did you cook? Did you cook this week or was it last week?
She cooks every week.
No, with taco.
Yes.
What was the last meal?
So I had posted about my Chipotle shrimp tacos.
Okay, now walk us through. Just walk us through. So you got the pan. You're gonna put olive oil in it. You're not gonna put. You could put other crap that's worse, like no butter, none of that, right?
Not like vegetable oil. Or
If
something.
I use butter, I'm gonna use a grass-fed butter. So this is where I want to, but no, I'm not going to probably use just I'm not using lard. I'm not using Crisco. I'm not using anything like that. I'm using grass-fed, whole natural ingredients to the best of my ability. Now, I know in nutrition, we're going to talk a little about macros too. I know we got all these things out here, but let's just talk about that since we're talking about oil.
Yeah.
A healthier form of oil in its natural state, and depending on how much fats you're going to eat in that day, that's way better than eating margarine or Crisco. You want to be able to separate.
Somebody out there still using Crisco.
Oh, for sure.
They sell it in the store.
Of course it
I'm
sells.
sure it's flying off the shelf for some people, not for us. But trans fats, saturated fats, for marketing, when you look at things and you start to look, okay, if we look at total fats, the average person is going to look at something and say, is this healthy for me? I can eat macaroons. They're organic.
Yeah.
They're gluten-free. You guys like my animation. It's great, right? This is how I do. I'm like, okay, let's really break this down.
Does that really say gluten-free too?
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow.
It says gluten-free.
Look at that chocolate drizzle.
Organic.
Okay, Crystal, so now tell us really what we're eating here.
Okay.
Horse shit.
Well, the good news is about this. The good news about this is I can actually read and identify and pronounce every single ingredient in here. Okay. Now, coconut is the first ingredient, which is awesome since we're going to eat some chocolate coconut macaroons. So that's important that the main ingredient is actually what it is, coconut. It's got tapioca syrup, so that's sugar. Sugar is always hidden in foods no matter what, and it's always got a lot of different names. Sugar, it's going to be syrup, it's going to be cane. Sugar is the next ingredient.
It's got a lot of sugar.
It's got the chocolate, which... How is chocolate made? With sugar. So it breaks it all down in that form. Cocoa butter, and it's got organic egg whites. So everything in here we can read and identify. Now, in the gummy bears...
Sugar.
Yeah, we can't... natural and artificial flavors. And that actually brings me to a point. Natural doesn't always mean natural. Say what?
What does natural mean to them?
Well,
how do they define natural that you're allowed to put that on there?
Yeah, because it's derived from
So there's
something.
multiple definitions.
Yeah. So natural could be, it has a little drop of something that came from a natural.
So now we can call it natural.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the same with fats. If, by labeling, and we don't want to get too much into all of that, like the marketing, but according to labeling and how things, depending on how much of a trans fat, they can still put it on the label if it's less than 1%, which means it can be 0.5% and they don't have to list it.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll just kind of
they can toy around with all these different things that can mimic, so that way they don't have to put it.
But yeah,
on
it's
the
marketed
label.
that it's healthy. So again, it just depends on what you're putting in your body, how important it is for you to manage and control what you're putting in your body. But I can guarantee this: anybody that's watching this, anybody that wants to know more about nutrition, do plans with me, things like that, that when they shift gears and start to be more aware of what they're putting in, not just even the quantity, but let's start with the quality and what it is going in their body, and then we start to play around with portion control, their life will change. Things will change.
What will change?
Their entire composition will change. Your body will not be inflamed. It will not be hanging on to bloat, things like that. Your body sends you signals that says, I'm not okay with this. So if you can't pronounce the ingredient, you eat it anyways. And later on in the day, you have gas, you have bloat, you have acid reflux. I mean, just to name a few that people experience probably on the regular. And they brush it off like, oh, that's normal for me. That's what that is like your car having a check engine light on and saying, hello, I need a little maintenance. Something's going on. And you're like, I don't know why I always get, this upset stomach when I eat this. Well, let's start to break it down and start to look, what are we putting in? What are we putting in? And if we break it down, and if we're really clear that we're wanting to make the changes and shift for ourselves, that if we shift more to clean eating and actually focus on what we're putting in, things will shift. Your clarity will change, your brain function will change, your body composition, your body will naturally start to take the inflammation down, your system will start to calm down, and your body composition will change naturally, even without changing your exercise routine. Let's assume that you're already exercising. But the nutrition, I think you guys had something on there, like how important is nutrition, Crystal?
But yeah, I mean, but there's. So let me ask you a question because I want to know this.
Okay.
You made your Chipotle tacos, right?
Yes.
So here, let's just compare. So quickly, what's in that ingredient? Like, what is it? So break it down. So you're going to use olive oil to grease the pan. Then you're going to use what?
Grass-fed butter.
Well, whatever. What? So what's
I didn't
next?
put your butter in that recipe,
So
but you
it's-
could. So yes, so I got the pan ready. The shrimp, I bought wild cut shrimp.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm starting with
Where'd you get the shrimp from?
You can buy them at Costco. You can
Okay.
buy at Trader. You can shop around. You
So
can buy
wild caught.
Wild cut.
Wild, not
Not
farm.
farm raised.
Okay, farm raised. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wild caught.
Wild.
All I did was I got some chipotle peppers. Now I did buy chipotle peppers and adobe sauce that came in a can,
Okay.
but I read the ingredients so I could identify what they were.
Okay.
Chopped up those peppers and seasoned my shrimp with those and salt and pepper.
Okay.
Let them marinate and some garlic. Okay. Set those aside. I made the chipotle sauce that I was going to put out, like a cream sauce, right? When you go to a restaurant, you're like, I want that.
Yeah.
Well, I modified it and I made it with Greek yogurt. A little tiny trace amount of mayo, because some people might lean, it could be made all with mayo. But I don't want to eat that much fat. I don't want my fat to come from that mayo. I want it to be a healthier balance. So I'm going to make it with Greek yogurt, a little bit of mayo, stirring one of those chili peppers in, the chipotle peppers, and a little bit more salt and pepper and lime squeeze. That's my sauce. Sauteed my shrimp in the pan, fixed up my tortilla. Tortilla was non-GMO, organic corn tortillas. You read the ingredients.
So corn's better than flour.
Flour's more processed.
Okay.
So corn says corn. Now some people, somebody could throw a wrench in this whole thing. I don't eat corn. There's no way corn can be non-GMO.
Okay.
But corn, water, lime, salt. That's what the tortillas are made from. 4 ingredients.
So you're just always ingredients.
Always ingredients.
So
because
don't even just go straight to the ingredients. Screw everything else. That's how when you
Yes.
pick something up.
Ingredients first, because if I'm taking the average person, let's say I go in and do a cupboard clean out, and I'm pulling this stuff out of there, and they go, oh, Crystal, I just, I crave this, and I eat a handful of this, and I eat a handful of goldfish, and if they have
I didn't
kids
know
at
bought
home,
this stuff, your mom.
and whatever, We don't. This isn't even in your studio. This was for the purpose of the nutrition.
No, I didn't even buy that. Rose bought it. Rose.
If I was to do a cupboard clean out and find out what people are eating, this was the conversation I'd have with them. I would ask them, are you open to some coaching? Are you open to hearing why this is not working well for you? Why this isn't a good snack? Why I could recommend, or how I could recommend a healthier snack for you? Doesn't mean you have to eliminate everything. It doesn't mean you ever don't eat chocolate or you don't eat sugar. It's really about what is it on a daily basis that you're putting in and how is your body responding?
Okay, so let's talk about what we have. We have acai blueberry flavored dark chocolate with some.
That's a glorified candy. So what else do you want to know?
So we have a glorified candy.
Well,
so
it's acai. That means it's healthy, right?
That's the marketing.
So we got our organic pretzels and all that. So another glorified candy, and this is some
Lemon zest.
zest bars. I don't even know what's in that ingredients. Is that?
But notice how
Zesty
naturally
lemon
and artificially flavored. Crystal caught on to
Yeah.
that. So if they do a drop of a real lemon essence, they can label it natural.
It has the essence
So those.
of lemon.
So this is bad too.
Yeah, I didn't even read these
Just let's see,
ingredients,
just
but
check it
no,
out.
I wouldn't eat that.
Okay, good. So
Would
let's
you
see
eat
here.
that, Crystal? No, I wouldn't eat that.
So I didn't order these, but let's say you go in my cupboard and
Yes.
this is all here, because probably people have this here.
Of course.
So let's talk about, hey Crystal, I want this. I love these dark chocolates because I need at 2
Sometimes
o'clock or
energy or
on
something.
Saturday or Sunday. I want my little chocolate. I like to have some pretzels around when I'm hungry in my office, and then this is supposed to be a protein bar, but these are garbage. But let's say a protein bar. So what should I be? So these are the snacks right here that you see in my cupboard: a protein bar, some pretzels, and some
So how would
glorified
you-
candy. What would you replace it with?
Yeah.
I would probably only keep these, and I would throw those in the
So
trash.
you let us keep these.
Yeah, I would probably keep these. And then we'd look and talk about the quantity. But over here, if you crave chocolate, I would ask you, are you open to a better suggestion? And I would,
say
find
yes.
something that has less ingredients or make your own.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
But
these
some-
are out. And then protein bars, what do you think about protein bars?
Protein bars are tricky. I'm not huge on protein bars, but a lot of my clients, that's something I would rather them eat a protein bar than a Snickers bar, right? I would rather them, I try to help them and look and say good, better, and best. So if people are on the go and they're like, Crystal, I need a go-to protein bar because I just don't have time to sit down and eat a fork and knife meal. It's not the way my day works. I'm willing to drink a protein shake, but I don't want to drink it every day. I'd rather eat a bar. I think there are some good bars out there.
What's
again,
what do you call it?
One of my
couple?
favorites is actually a local San Diego company. You guys should consider maybe interviewing them. They started in San Diego. They're called Perfect Bars, Perfect Food Bars. And they originally started with more of like a peanut butter.
Are those the cold ones that are in?
Oh, those
I
are
love
great.
Those are
I should interview Monty.
Yeah, so
Hit 'em up.
Those are really good.
Let's get 'em on
it's
the
a
podcast.
family-owned company. Started in San Diego.
Okay.
I personally, I know the owner. I buy
cool.
them.
Let's get 'em on.
I've been eating them for years, and but it is a full meal replacement. It is balanced with protein, carbs, and fats, and it's an amazing bar. The ingredients are mostly organic, but keep in mind any bar is processed. It has to be processed, so you're almost eating something that is in a compressed form versus eating leafy greens, for example. But your body would better identify that than some of the protein bars out there that are marketed that are just so compressed that your body can't even digest it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and full of sugar. Now, sugar is mindful in certain instances. We want to be mindful that sugar is helpful to shuttle nutrients into our muscles at times, especially post-workout. But when sugar is secretly weaved in all of our foods, and at the end of the day, we don't realize how much sugar we're eating, or we're craving something when really, if you ate some dark chocolate that satisfied your craving versus eating dark chocolate with sugar and syrup and preservatives in it, that doesn't even sound good. So that's the difference. So when you shift people to getting their bodies to start to operate more efficiently, just like your car. If you're driving, whatever car, like Kenny, what's your dream car? Like one that you're like, you really like, I would love to have this car someday.
I don't even know.
Just any
Just
car.
say a truck.
Okay.
Or driving a truck.
Or like a classic car. Or
Sure, there you go. Classic car.
Would you go and pour sugar in the gas tank?
No.
Yeah. Or would you drive to 7-Eleven and put gas in it?
No.
No. You would want to put the highest octane, the most premium fuel in that
Because this is
vehicle.
really fuel. This is what food is just fuel.
Food is fuel. So if it's an LS motor, are you going to go pour crap and put low octane? No, you're not. So you want to look at it that way. So I use the example of that your body is very similar to a car. You want efficiency and you want to optimize. This is not going to optimize your nutrition.
And what kinds of sugars are better alternatives?
Well, sugar in its most natural form, but keep in mind sugar is still sugar. Fruit, yeah. And it's still, your body still identifies it that way, but it's more easily identifiable and it will break it down better. Okay, so I'm never going to be someone that says I don't ever eat sugar, but I very rarely eat processed sugar. Okay. Occasionally I do, occasionally it's going to be in there. I'm not going to eliminate it altogether. And I think that was another, conversation that we've had even, anytime we've been training and stuff is like, Crystal, do you ever crave things or do you eat sugar or do you eliminate all one thing? No, not necessarily. I live a very balanced lifestyle. Now, when I was competing, if you listen to my other podcast and you talk a little bit about competing and the rigidity of that, which is measuring and weighing your food and like literally no sodium and all this stuff. I don't do that. I haven't done that in almost 5 years. And, there's part of me just because the athlete in me that gets very like, hey, let's line it up. Let's do that again just to do it, because that is where I'm going to be operating in this, top 2% of athletes that I'm very specific, like an Olympic athlete mindset. I'm going to do what I want to do for a very specific purpose for a very specific period of time. General lifestyle, I eat normal foods. I don't eliminate any food groups. I eat corn tortillas. Occasionally I'll eat a flour tortilla, but it's more processed. But I'm going to balance my nutrition all throughout the day. I'm going to make sure my proteins, my carbs, and my fats are balanced for what I want to achieve. Now, I think that we talked a little bit about what does someone do if they want to bulk, or what if someone want to shred, or there's fine-tune adjustments to your macros. So your macronutrients.
So let's jump into that.
Yeah,
so
let's go for it.
So real quick. So if you're new, so let's just say you got the person that's like, okay, I want to go to the gym. I'm committed. I want to get healthy.
Okay.
Before we go into whether they want to get bulk, shred, or just maintaining, what are some of the recommendations like to change their lifestyle and the diet? Like basically, what's some basic like food? If I'm like, we work in the office and we should keep some stuff around here so we're hungry. So let's say for breakfast we eat a protein shake, and that consists of protein shake, bananas, strawberries. We put our vitamin stuff in there. Then we do the protein powder. Then we might do some yogurt, some kale or something like that. So that's there. And then obviously you should be eating a snack. And then you eat maybe a lunch and then another snack and then dinner. What I think a lot of people where they get screwed is they they cheat at lunch or they don't do the snack and then they eat one big thing. What are some good snacks between? Like, what's a good lunch? Because so many people listening to this are like, I'm good in the morning, I'm good at night. It's in the middle of the day, it goes to shit.
Yeah, well, it's it's all in the prep, whether or not they're going to make it themselves or hire a meal prep company so they have something readily available. If you don't have anything available, you're just going to choose crap every time, right?
Okay.
You're going to choose crap.
You're just going to grab what's easy.
Yep. The idea is why we're talking about the frequency of meals is to keep your blood sugar even. This is general everyday health, okay? General everyday health is to keep your system firing on all cylinders. You want to keep your blood sugar even. You don't want to dip and you don't want to have sugar crashes and highs and lows. The best way to do that is to regulate how much and what's going in and what it is. So protein, again, this is, I don't want anybody to hear this and say, oh, she said this is exact absolute.
No, just like what you might eat. Yeah.
But a very standard, you might select and say, I'm going to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Some people might argue and say that's too much. Some people might say it's too little. And that is the difference and the variance between someone trying to bulk versus someone trying to, just be in a maintenance mode. So let's just be clear on that. But let's use 1 as a general rule. So Kenny, how much do you weigh right now?
210.
Okay, so let's say your goal was to try to consume 210 grams of protein in an entire day from the time you woke until the time you went to bed. Okay. As a general rule, let's say that's where you're at right now.
Okay.
Let's say your carbs, we wanted to, especially since you train a lot, which I know you do, let's say in general your carbs for where you're at in your lifestyle and how I know you run your day-to-day, let's say we were going to put you at 1.5 grams of carbs per pound of body weight, and then let's figure out your fats. I would ask you questions and say, Kenny, do you crave more carb, salty, or do you crave more sweet and sugary types of foods?
Sweet.
I do?
You kind of have a sweet tooth.
Probably more carbs.
Okay.
More. I don't eat sweets all day.
Because they're not in the house. Okay, anyways, so go carbs.
But this is a good example. Okay, so
I'd say
Kenny,
probably carbs.
I would say Kenny probably craves more carbs because of his training and the way he goes day to day.
I think I do.
So I would say his fats in his diet, I would still pick a pretty, a good amount. Maybe I have you at 20 or 25% fats for the day.
Okay.
We would figure out what that number was for you. And your carbs, we'd probably bump up. Now, let's just jump to Crystal real quick. So, Crystal, for you, do you crave more sweets and sugar, or do you crave more carbs?
Both.
You crave both?
I do. Well, since Harlow, I've definitely developed a sweet tooth, but before then I would have said carbs. And
okay.
That
so
all the way.
The trick for people is, as I start to help them regulate their macros, just at a very baseline, I learn a little bit about their weight, if I can, about their body fat and their body composition, and I help them, and I do all the math for them. So usually when I'm doing a presentation, a lot of times this is a presentation in front of an audience, using a whiteboard and writing and doing some math, and some people, their eyes just get this big because they're like, I don't want to figure out that math. I'm like, guess what? You don't have to. I figured it out for you.
Yeah.
And I just lay it out. So if I was to lay that structure, so, if I said, Kenny, I do need you, protein shake for morning is awesome.
Okay.
Mid-morning, what are you doing? Especially if you're working out in the morning, I might suggest another protein shake afterwards if you're not going to make the time to eat. Or at that time, it would be actually imperative for you, especially since you train hard, for you could simply get away with eating like an egg sandwich, a breakfast egg sandwich, even something like a bagel sandwich. You could...
An egg sandwich.
I love egg sandwiches.
You could eat that.
Chris is like, yeah.
Or, you could make it at home.
Yeah.
Avocado toast is great because people then are like, wow, I need something sustainable for my day. A protein shake is great.
So you can get avocado and toast here, just simply
toast,
boom.
Oh, amazing, right? And you could throw an egg on it, whether it be a hard-boiled egg or however you want to do it. That would be a perfect mid-morning. It could be mid-afternoon. Lunch, my recommendation for people that eat a sustainable lunch. They eat a protein, and again, they could use their hand as a guideline if they weren't measuring and weighing food. Your hand is different than mine and different than Crystal's, and so on and so forth. So we would look at that, and that would be approximate for you, not exact science. If we were doing science and you wanted to be on a bodybuilding show,
this is
exactly.
Good. Yeah.
Carbs could be the size of your fist.
So lunch could be, if you could do a sandwich, you could do like a chicken salad.
Hey, I ate at Tender Grains today. I had Wagyu beef. Amazing.
Yeah.
I had Yukon Gold potatoes that were golden, and they were probably cooked in butter, and they were incredible.
Cheater! She cheated!
but I didn't make it, but it was good.
Yeah.
And I had a salad. I asked for the dressing on the side. So do
No
I
mashed
eat
potatoes there?
Yes, she said the Yukon
Yukon
potato.
Gold?
Those are the mashed
But
potatoes?
they weren't mashed. They were golden.
That's what I
brown,
said. They're
like,
not mashed, but I thought
crispy.
mashed. Those mashed are good there. Just
They
saying.
so
are
good.
mashed.
But that just showed you guys. I went out and ate today, and it was great. I asked for the dressing on the side for my
Do
salad.
you feel bloated or anything?
No,
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
good. It was amazing. I think tender grains
Because
is
she
a
does
pretty,
that like once a year.
I remember last time we're like, so how many times you cheat? And I was thinking, okay, once a week. She's like, maybe once or two, maybe two times a month. I'm like, a month?
It was shocking.
Remember,
to you,
we were
right?
like, because
Yeah.
we cheat every week.
Every
Couple
day.
times.
Well, how about
Yeah.
how about
Yep.
well the the average person they're gonna
At
say
least cheats
cheat.
at once
They're
a
gonna
day.
say cheat, but what if we didn't say cheat? What if we just said, I eat
Enjoy.
for fuel.
Yeah.
I live a lifestyle that's balanced, which means I do enjoy alcohol, going out, entertaining clients, etc., etc. And I live a balanced lifestyle where my weight doesn't fluctuate so much. I'm happy with my body composition. I'm happy with my muscle mass. I'm happy with how my body performs and how I feel, how I sleep at night. See, nutrition ties into such a deeper level of like the questions I ask people. How are you sleeping? What's going on? What signals is your body sending to you? And those are just kind of the basic fundamentals that I ask people.
I mean, honestly, we just had Aaron Taylor on here, who was former
She's
NFL player.
She's talking about that.
Who was saying that they're just now, I mean, in the super early stages, but doing studies about if your body's in a ketogenic state, that you're less likely to have injury when you're playing sports. So that's kind of amazing.
Because somebody said when you're born, when the baby's born, right, for the first, is it?
Your baby's in a ketogenic state
for 6 months or something, right?
Well, basically until they start eating food.
Yeah,
Totally.
crazy.
Because they're not, and
Unless
so,
they're formula. If you're formula fed, then obviously. But
Yeah.
It breaks that.
if you're on
Yes.
breast
Yeah.
milk, like that, they're in a ketogenic state until they start eating anything that's foreign.
So let's talk about, what do you want to talk about? Bulking or shredding right now?
Well, I like bulking.
Okay. So you just said,
Are we
Kenny,
bulking Kenny up or you?
Kenny.
no, so basically you went through and said that's kind of what it is. So if I'm going to bulk up and I go, okay, Crystal, I want to get to 230. So I want to gain 20 pounds, which is a lot,
Yes.
which I've actually done. So I know, but I would have to start eating
A lot.
A lot more.
a lot more.
Yes.
So when would is that breakfast, lunch, dinner a lot more? Or is that like, no, that's like every meal you eat is a lot more?
You would increase the volume of your meals. And so it's science, right? We cannot knock science. It's science and math. If I had the whiteboard here again, we would talk about it. So we want to start to look at, there's a basic metabolic rate everybody has, which means when you wake up in the morning, your body is actually going to burn a certain amount of calories, whether you do any activity or not. Just waking up, opening your eyes, brushing your teeth burns a certain amount of calories. I mean, the truth be told, you guys just had an NFL player in here, and sadly, we could talk about things that happen to, athletes that play very rough sports, but let's say someone was in a coma. Your body still burns calories in a coma. And people might have to think on that statement for just a second and go, wait, someone's in a coma and they're bedridden, they can't move? Yes, your body.
But their body's functioning inside.
Yes, your
It's
body
working.
still burns calories. So if we could look at that from that perspective and say, okay, your body burns calories regardless, and let's throw out the window all the fad stuff of someone eating like something crazy like 500 calories a day when people did that crazy, what was it, the HGC or whatever.
there's
these
so many
fads,
diets.
so many things out there. But let's be realistic and say your body has to function and survive with a certain amount of calories. Kenny wants to bulk. We know I would then take the math and I would say, okay, what's your basic metabolic rate? I would look at his height, his weight, his age. I'd also look at his body composition. And I'd say, okay, here's my baseline number. Okay, Kenny, how many calories do you burn in a day? Now, I know Kenny doesn't sit very well,
So
just like
much.
me. So I would look, number one, this is key, his daily activity. How much he paces around and walks and talks on the phone and does the things he does, not including his exercise. So his total daily energy expenditure. I get the whiteboard out, or I get my notebook at home, I get my calculations, and I start calculating out. And I say, okay, I need to feed Kenny a surplus of calories. His body's going to burn so much at work. It's going to burn so much at rest. I need to create a surplus and hopefully a clean bulk, which means not sending him to eat at McDonald's for 30 days. Back in the documentaries when they started diving into health stuff, Super Size Me, when that guy went and all of his numbers rose with the doctor, and it was like so scary, right? So clean bulk, giving you more calories so your body can actually add muscle mass. Your 1 pound of muscle requires 13.8 calories just to maintain it. not to build it. But often, I'm going to lean over to Crystal here, women, not that men are, excluded from this, but often women undercalorie themselves, and they, at the end of the day, they're extra hungry because they didn't eat enough throughout the day. So they fall into that category that's called backloading, which means their body knows it needs a certain amount of calories in the day. And if they don't get them in the day, they're going to get them at the end of the day. And it's usually right before they go to bed. And they will shove anything in their mouth that they can to get the instant energy. And the brain says, hello, I need, you didn't give me anything today. My system is starting to shut down. What's going on? So do you see how nutrition really plays a role? Like if someone actually understood their numbers and understood that if they ate throughout the day, for bulking, more volume of food, more frequency, clean foods, what the quantity of them. Crystal, maybe she wants to shred. She wants to get ready for another competition. She says, hey, I'm going to go do this. I would still feed her a certain amount of meals throughout the day. I would, quantify how much she was eating and what she was eating and help her with her math. Maybe her carbs were a little lower, but her fats were bumped up. Your carbs are higher, your fats are lower. It's always and it's like this. It's this flow because the ocean always has frequency.
Yeah.
We always have frequency in life. There's always going to be flux. If we're like this, flatline means we're dead.
Yeah.
So food is the same. And so if we can be more open to that. Does that answer your question?
Yep, that's
okay,
good.
Cool.
So let's talk about the counting calories versus macros.
Okay, I was just looking at that.
Now, okay, so what's your question on that?
What's better, or what should people be paying attention to?
Macros for sure.
Yeah.
So calories.
And what are macros?
Macros are your macronutrients, and they're broken down into protein, carbs, and fats. Okay, those are macro, meaning the largest. And then there's micronutrients, which is more of your vitamins and minerals. Okay. So macros, there is 4 calories per gram of protein, 4 calories per gram of carbohydrate, 9 calories per gram for fats. Notice that is more than twice as much. And alcohol is 7. Okay, why are those numbers important? So if I'm going to count macros and I give Crystal a certain amount of macro count for what I want her to eat in the day and her activity level, and I say, Crystal, I want you to hit these macros, and here's your numbers. I want you to hit 120 grams of protein. I'm just making these up right now. I'm not doing your calculations. 120 grams of protein. I want you to hit 150 grams of carbs, and I want you to hit 40 grams of fat. I would add those up. I'd get my calculator out, and I'd look, and your overall number would be a certain amount of calories for the day, but those calories are now split into basically categories. Okay. And those categories mean a lot, because if you were just leaning and all you ate was fat and no proteins, we're missing the boat on your macros, right?
Right.
So we talked a little bit about keto. We talked about the NFL player and keto. I am a huge fan for when people find something that works really well for them. I'm a fan for that. I am not going to sit here and say, that doesn't work, that doesn't work, that doesn't work. I think there's a lot of great concepts out there. I think there's a lot of science behind, for example, keto is kind of the newest thing, or it's not really new. It's been around. Yeah. It's just been kind repurposed or version 2.0. Yep. But let's talk about that. There's a lot of people that are experts in keto. I am not. I am more of an expert in lifestyle and balance and helping people understand this general math that we just talked about. But let's say someone leans into keto to get the results that they need. They're really, really in a precarious situation where they need to get weight off. Maybe they're even supervised by a doctor for keto. That happens a lot. But they want to regulate and come out of that over time because they don't want to sustain that lifestyle. So they do need to learn how to balance out their foods and their macros over a period of time. And there's nothing more important than education as well as documenting. You have to be a student of the process. Yeah. If you're not a student of the process, you can't say you're well versed in it. Try it one time. Don't knock it. Try a program, document it, journal, put the notes in MyFitnessPal, whatever app you're using, and see how it works for you. Then evaluate it. Make your adjustments.
Yeah. So what do you think? I mean, I think that the biggest issue that I've seen with a lot of the diets is that they're so restrictive. So it's not really sustainable. So if you're saying, hey, I'm doing this 30-day thing or this 60-day thing or whatever it is that people are doing, you're basically starving yourself for 30 or 60 days.
And they
from
go right back to
their
their old
body
diet.
craves.
It's not a long, that's the thing about.
Or you go way overboard too once you're allowed to eat again.
Yeah.
And that's what you're saying at the beginning. It's like, if you just change your body and you start eating clean and healthy, and you can still cheat, it's not going to be perfect, That's what you're saying is your body will change. What these people are doing is they're going one extreme, and then they get the weight off, and they go right back to here.
Yes.
And it's just back, and then they go here again. Back. So like, oh, summer's coming, let's get it off.
Yes.
Then summer's done, then they get back on for winter. Oh my gosh, beginning of the year, let's get it off. And they're doing this back and forth their whole life, and they never just say, if you just eat like this and be consistent, you can just, like that's what you're saying. It's just, you don't need to go on these crazy diets. It's,
No.
you can if you're maybe in a movie or training or this or that, right? If there's competitions, there's things you do. But like you're saying is we're talking about an average person.
Yes.
Even if somebody is overweight right now, like tremendously overweight, and they want to take time, it's just, instead of doing this, just do it over. Maybe it's going to take you a year or two.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Settle into the process and make an investment. Everything you guys do, it's all about what value we're bringing to our audience here, right? You know, today I want to bring that value that is like, hey, I'm bringing some education. These are things I've learned over the years. There's simple math. And if you don't know how to break it down on your own, you don't have to. Ask someone to show you the basics and learn how to apply it. And then understand that you can make adjustments and you can go into maintenance. What if, for example, and I'm going to speak to both of you guys right now, what if your size never changed and that was desirable for you? Your goal was, you know what, I don't ever want to wear a different size. I'm perfectly happy, feel good, I perform good in all my exercises, my daily life. What if that never changed for you? Would that be a positive thing?
Yeah, I'd be happy with that.
Perfect.
I think for us, it more goes towards just like you said, what are you putting in your body? Because there's so many people.
I feel it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when you eat, if you do eat clean, if you ate clean for just 1 week, and then you, let's say Monday through Saturday, and you Sunday you woke up and you cheated, like you feel like I don't drink that much anymore, but if I were to drink, like I'm a lightweight too, I'm a cheap date or whatever you call it. But like if I drink, I feel it, but the next morning I really feel it because I've been so on. It's the working out. So the next morning I'm like, wow, I just feel it. And I think it's just because the crap's out of your body, and when it comes in, you just really, really feel it. But if you're drinking all the time, your body's just used to it.
Yeah,
well, you're kind of used to feeling crappy all the
Yeah,
time
no.
too.
But you don't realize you feel crappy till
Yeah.
you stop.
And I think that argument's
Same with food.
would go the same with food.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
if someone's
do.
used to eating fast food and they don't know that they don't feel good
Yeah.
until they do.
Because fast food, you feel it's like up and then crashed, and you're like, oh, I'm tired.
And I think it's important, like the clients I work with, I always, let them know, hey, I'm going to meet you where you're at. Okay, great. You eat fast food 24/7. But you're committed to changing that. Okay, let's talk about that. I'm gonna do. It's like a weaning process.
Yeah.
It's a process.
Let's go
It is-
from 4 days a week. Now we got to try 2.
Yeah.
Because
You
you're
know,
not going to just take them right off. Probably.
Let's say
There's no way.
someone. I had a client of mine years ago who drank. He told me he drank 2 liters of diet soda every single day.
Oh my
now I
gosh.
just about fell over, right? But it was like
Yes.
that was where he was at. Okay. Okay.
Jeez.
Got it. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for being honest not only with me but with yourself. Got it. Okay. Let's take a look at that. And he was really committed to wanting to change that. And he had started working out with me. He wanted to know, how can I make better choices and how can I slow down? So he went from 2 to 1 liter, and then he eventually got off the 1 liter. He lost 25 pounds just from cutting the soda. Now, number one, diet soda, it's also marketed as like, oh, well, hey, 0 calories.
It's great because it's diet, right?
Crystal, like 0
0
calories
calories,
versus
yeah.
the macros. Like, what? You're putting poison in your body. Anything that is labeled diet or anything like that, it is chemically changed.
You know what else I read?
Chemically
You know what else I read
changed.
one time? And this is why I'm always so anal about juices. Is somebody said, if you're gonna grab that juice, you might as well grab a soda because it's the same sugar and garbage. I know there's not carbs, but so when I drink juice, I'm always like, is it squeezed? Or then no, forget about it, just give me water, because honestly, juice, they said that garbage that you grab, that's just like concentrated all the sugar. It's just as bad.
But going to that, is any juice good?
Well, here's the thing.
No fresh
I even heard,
fruit.
like orange.
Fresh fruit
Yeah.
is better, but let's
Right.
say you fresh squeezed your own orange juice, or you went to, a store that they made it,
Yeah.
fresh squeezed, no preservatives. Okay, great. I love the taste of fresh
That.
squeezed
That's
orange
why I
juice.
did. That's why,
Yes.
yeah.
Now, here's what I do. I will take that, I will pour it in a glass. I'll maybe pour a quarter of the glass,
water.
and I add water. I
Okay.
dilute it. I enjoy the flavor. I
You
don't
still
ever
probably get a good flavor if it's fresh.
It's
yeah.
amazing. And,
Yeah.
yes, there is sugar, and I'm mindful of that. But, all the juice craze way back when, people aren't getting the fiber and the pulp from fruit. So, you see, there's just like every angle, like we could dissect every angle because there's
Yeah.
so many things. But here's a news flash. You guys might not be aware of this. This might be news to you, but you have to eat for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So if people understood, like, wow, I have to eat for the rest of my life, but yet everybody's taking on more than one task in their life, right?
They're the laziest about it.
Yes.
Because you live in America where everything's convenient. Like if you go to like Paris, like
it's much different in different
you have to
countries.
like go to the store and your refrigerator's this big and you buy the food just to cook. So they're used to that. They're not used to go grab. I mean, when you're in Paris, there's like very few fast food. There's like a McDonald's. We see people, you're literally eating at McDonald's and you're in Paris and there's like 1,200 great
But
restaurants.
guess why? They're addicted.
Yeah.
They're addicted.
No, Americans are in there. You're like, you're in Paris.
It's crazy, but in the quantity of food in a different country, different cultures, there's a lot of different things. You know, I work, you guys know, as an independent contractor at San Diego State University.
Yeah.
So I work with a lot of international students. And it's amazing to me how they tell me, you know, not only just being in college and gaining the quote unquote freshman 15, but how different American food is and how addicted they are to things. I have a young girl from China. And she goes, I love McDonald's.
Oh my gosh.
I said, wait, you love me? She goes, oh, yes, I feel like I have to go there. And I said, let's talk about that. And we talked about that because it's chemically enhanced.
They do it on purpose. This is
Yes.
all on purpose.
It is. So I think, you know, the biggest lesson here, if you are someone that is a high-level executive, you're, you know, out hustling in life like you guys, like all of us, we're all like, we're out there trying to optimize in our life, right? We're doing all these hacks. We're like, what's the next hack? How do we do this? But yet we are not doing ourselves any service if we're just driving through a place. So I always challenge people and say, like, well, you're prepared everywhere else in your life. You've got all these investments. You do all this, but you don't invest. Like, you can't figure out your food. So I do carry my cooler everywhere. And I know that's extreme for some people. Not everybody wants to do that. I totally get that. I'm just going to push back and say, what are you doing to be prepared so you can optimize your fuel for your body so you can function at high level, so your brain's functioning at top level? Maybe if you're putting in a 15-hour long day. I don't know. You know, I know you guys put a lot of hours into your day. So how are you going to do that? You better feed yourself more high quality foods.
So if you're going to cheat, what time of day should you cheat?
Breakfast is better.
Because
You're
burn
gonna
it.
burn it all day.
You would be better
So
off
just
eating
eat-
ice cream for breakfast
So
if you wanted to have
eat a
it.
shitty breakfast and not a shitty dinner.
Yeah, I mean that's where
If you want that, then have your crappy Starbucks, whatever those stupid things are you guys
hopefully
drink.
you're not drinking like the Starbucks with the whipped cream every single day. I mean, gosh. So if we were again like a scientist,
Just
we
6
take
shots.
this and we start to we start to dissect it, and we're like, oh my gosh, what I didn't know I was doing that to my body. Now, let's talk about clogging your arteries
Yeah.
with saturated fat. You know.
Well, I have a question then. So, because this has been the big debate too, is whether or not we should really even be drinking milk.
Oh, let's talk about milk.
Yeah, because I've heard people say that we were never really meant to drink milk. Our bodies don't know what to do with it.
True.
So that is true?
That is true. So let's break it down. You're a new mom. So, yeah, it's always controversy around milk. Okay. So, milk, anybody, a person and or a mammal, live birth, that they feed their young milk. Okay. So let's use an animal as an example. An animal feeds their baby the milk that they produce until they wean them. Okay. The baby needs that. They're weaned off. Do they ever drink milk again?
No.
I'm picturing like, you know, a whale. Do they ever drink milk again in their life? Do they have access to it?
No.
Do they pull over to the convenience store underwater? And
Good point.
Okay,
That's a good point.
Now, let's laugh at it, and then let's talk about, you know, humans. We are then now, I mean, my mom is someone of that generation. Well, you need your milk for calcium. Well, no, Mom, I don't. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, but
Yeah,
my
so
mom.
there's osteoporosis and everything. People will use that.
Yes, but calcium you can
But
get
then
from
you
leafy
can.
greens.
But then also
Yeah.
okay. Do you take supplements?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so what do you take?
Yeah, I take vitamin D. I take a multivitamin. I actually, you know, currently and have been for 10 years using all the Isogenics products. So I do meal replacements. They have both
Do you
digestive.
do fish oil?
I do. They have their own brand. There's another one that if someone wants to buy, not that brand, Udo's oil, spelled U like umbrella, D-O. That's a full spectrum. Your omega-3, 6,
That's
and
what I
9.
put in our shakes. That's good.
Yep, absolutely.
How
It's
much
good.
should you put in?
It usually says 1 tablespoon per 50 pounds of body weight, and depending on how many times a day you're going to do that. But if you
In
did
the
1
morning.
tablespoon in your shake, then you're going to get some. Let's say you drizzle some on your salad at the end of the day, you would get some. But I think the overall,
so put it in some food if you're gonna cook too.
you
it's okay.
could, yeah,
Okay.
you could.
So does that have fish oil and stuff in it? Or?
That Udo's oil is fish free.
Okay.
So those oils are derived from plants. Now, some people are vegetarians.
That's the
Like,
big
see, the
bottle, isn't it?
conversation can go lots of different directions.
Yeah.
Now, some people are okay with doing fish oil, and it's going to come from cold fish. You know, most people aren't going to crack open, you know, and eat sardines. You know, some people are not going to eat kipper snacks. Some will.
I've eaten sardines, but I wouldn't crack it open.
Yeah. So they're going to get it in the most condensed form. So there's a lot of companies out there that market the purity of that. You know, I know Isogenics, their quality of foods and things like that. So I use that. So yes, I do still supplement as no matter which way we slice it. If we were to grow our own food, it's organic because it doesn't have pesticides and you're controlling what's on it. But our soil is depleted, which means our food is not uptaking the same amount of nutrients as it was maybe 100 years ago. So supplementing, I have found for myself to be instrumental in on top of my food. You know, just like we're talking, I'll go back to the milk real quick. You know, milk is marketed and sold as it's fortified and it's this and it's that. However, our systems aren't designed to digest the milk after the stage of infancy, period.
Okay.
So if you're going out to dinner with friends, what's better, a glass of wine or liquor? I say
Wine.
a glass.
That's what I say.
I say glass of liquor with water straight up.
Hard alcohol first, and depending on the purity of the alcohol, right? But here's the challenge with wine. A lot of us, I like wine too.
I love wine.
But I've learned a lot about
He's like,
wine.
I love it.
I don't have my phone right here.
Look at Paco over there. He's like, yeah.
I'll have to find my a picture.
Flush those gummy bears down.
Here we go. Send that back over there.
Here, wash them down with these.
Yeah, can we airmail it over there? Woo! So the interesting thing, people don't realize how much sugar, again, is hidden in things in alcohol. I have a picture. I'll share it with you, Crystal, and you can share it however you choose to. Maybe you guys can actually do it as a marketing information. But after the alcohol's evaporated from a clear bottle of wine, there's still like this much sugar in the bottle.
Oh my gosh. I knew there was a lot of sugar. But
Now, the other part with the wine, I like wine
but
too.
it's grapes.
So you think? Did you grow those grapes?
It's natural.
No, but I saw them on the vines at the winery.
Yeah. So and the sulfates. So
Okay.
in the United States, sulfates are a preservative, and wine cannot be sold without them. So unless you are going to start your own vineyard and you're going to go out there and stomp the grapes and make your own wine, and it's not regulated, you know, you can make your own, but all wine. So it's tricky. And why do people feel like such crap after they drink sulfates, a preservative, and or too much wine because of the sugar? This is why on my last episode of filming in my Crystal's Kitchen, I made a healthy margarita, and I've got many other cocktails coming, especially for summertime.
Whoa.
Cocktails and desserts and recipes.
Yeah.
Why? Because
Francisco's like, yeah.
we're talking about balanced living, right? Which means
White Russian, though.
a White Russian's going to be tricky because we could use, quality, organic vodka, but there's still going to be some form of cream in there. But we could be selective of it. But again, that would not classify as a healthy cocktail probably anywhere in my recipe book. But I'd be happy to make it for you if you'd like.
Francisco's like, I'm going to get her to...
I'll make it for him. I'll make him happy.
Francisco's going to be like, I need this with that and this.
coconut milk
What
or
the-
something.
I know,
in there.
right? Yeah, that would be. I should. Crystal, that's a good idea. I'm
see?
gonna try it.
Ooh.
Coconut, well, non-dairy.
work.
We could try it.
That might work.
I'll try it. Yeah, I have an espresso martini. It's really amazing. Espresso martini is awesome.
About your show. So,
yes.
how often are you putting stuff out, right? How often? Like we do, Monty over here has us doing stuff like every minute of every
which
hour.
is awesome. You guys are doing great stuff. I'm excited to be a part of it.
So how often are you going to put it out? And then what's your goal with like the show? What is the whole goal?
Yeah, so really, I realized that the show just had to happen.
Okay.
Because of what we're talking about today and food. And I'm in my kitchen and I'm creating all these things and I'm enjoying it. But I have so many friends and clients that would love to be able to be a fly on the wall in my kitchen and learn a little bit more, and that they are eager to try it in their own kitchen and duplicate it. And so it's almost a disservice for me not to do it. So I've now, invested in that part as a full business to film and to start launching some of those videos by June of 2019. The goal will be able to build the library to launch at least one recipe a week.
Cool.
And then continue to filter in, tidbits throughout the week, what's in Crystal's cooler and why is it in there? When she comes home from grocery shopping, what is she unpacking and how is she prepping? How is she getting, some veggies prepped that maybe her afternoon snack is eating some hummus and veggies?
I think you should also somehow vlog you going shopping for food.
I think it's awesome. So
Francisca can bring the DJI handheld
Perfect.
Sony 6500 and film you around. Because that'd be cool. No, what you're grabbing the ingredients, where you're shopping, what you're looking at, because I think, and then where you're going.
It's really about adding the value, showing people what I do. I actually, years ago, I thought, I underestimated that it was of value to anyone, and I'm now learning, hence the reason I said the show's kind of morphing and taking shape of its own, is that people are asking and wanting to learn. I had, a friend of mine message me today. He's a single dad of 4 kids, and he's kind of like the single soccer dad and mom. And he said, Crystal, I'm loving everything you're doing. I'm loving the Crystal's Kitchen, but can you create something that's for the on-the-go soccer mom and dad, because I need a little bit more assistance of what I could do. And I thought, people are asking for certain things. So the show is, what I'm building right now, and what I've already been spending some time filming is getting ready to be able to start publishing in June on a weekly basis, continue, and then filter in throughout the week all the, my amateur shots, maybe me even filming myself going to the grocery store, but just like what you're talking about, the questions that people have, and let it take its life of its own, where people start asking questions like, hey, I'm a new mom, and I heard that, I'm not supposed to give my kids milk. I want to be able to intelligently answer their questions and give them baseline information. I have fun doing it. I'm happiest in the kitchen. The way I express myself is through food. And that's what I really love to do. And I thought, with the power of social media and what we've done with technology now, it's not just exclusive to people that are close to me in San Diego. It's for everyone. And so by the end of the year, I hope the library will be built bigger, where I can launch much more going into 2020, just through collaboration and network, and people reaching out and watching this and sharing it with someone that they know that it could make a difference for. Because people want to live longer, they want to be healthier, they want to be happier, they want to be in a good mood. I mean, I don't think you guys have ever seen me in a bad mood.
Nope.
Nope. I mean, and we've seen you, we've been around for a while, and you've gone through, a lot of things. I mean, not a lot, but you've gone through a couple of life transitions.
Changes, yeah.
So absolutely, I would say that I've never seen you in a bad mood, and not without your cooler either. So it's no, this is a real lifestyle.
They're like, she's a real person.
Yeah.
Touch her.
Yes.
She really does it.
My last question for you, if you have a last one, is, we don't have to talk about your age. You can say your age, but
you can. I'm happy to help people understand.
I think I know her age, but is your eating changing? Is your eating going to change as you get older? Like from
With
20
age.
to 30 to 40 to 50, if you eat like you do and you eat clean, healthy, should your eating change? Let's say you're not trying to shred or bulk, or you're just, I work out, I want to maintain.
Nope, it wouldn't change.
Okay.
And since that wouldn't change, guess what? My clothing in my closet wouldn't change unless I just unless I want a new outfit.
Yeah.
The size is the same. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have, I personally don't have 3 different sets of clothing in my closet, which the average person does. I work with people on a daily basis, the men and women. Yes.
Wow, I never even thought about that.
If you think about it, the average person has about 3 different sizes in their closet. In this day and age, in the convenience of fast food and everything that's going on.
Oh, I didn't know
and
that.
They said
I never thought about that.
And let's just dive a little deeper.
You don't change in size
since
either.
Kenny, you're wearing the perfect shirt mindset today. What's happening? I said this in my last podcast, but what's happening between the 2 ears? So now, Kenny, I've left him with something he's going to think about and go, wow. But imagine for a moment if you're that person that you're like, someday, somehow, I will get into those clothes again. Somehow, someday, somewhere off here, we don't have a calendar right here, but I don't know where someday on that calendar is. There's no definitive, there's nothing about that. There is this commitment that says, I am no longer going to hoard and hang on to this size of clothing that doesn't fit me. That's not even going to be in style when it fits me. If someone needs to lose 50 pounds, let's just say realistically, and we committed that they're going to take a year to get the 50 pounds off. Now, most likely, if they have the right accountability, the right program, they're going to get the 50 pounds off a lot quicker than that 1 year. Okay. But let's say they committed to 1 year on the average of losing 1 pound per week in a healthy way, in a healthy manner, and their mindset followed suit, because the mindset is what's really imperative.
That's what it's all about.
They're going to look in the mirror, and many times when people lose a very large amount of weight, 50 plus, let's even go 100. They look in the mirror and they see themselves as the same person because they haven't done the inner work, the health coaching, all the things. So this all ties into nutrition. I want you guys to hear this, and I think it's important for our audience. As a personal trainer, I service my clients by assisting them in learning form and function. Without nutrition, I'm doing them a disservice because they don't have the optimal fuel to fuel their body for the goals that they're trying to achieve through their physical body. Without the health coaching and the psychology and the behavior modification and the support and the reinforcement of all my years of experience, as well as what they've maybe gone through, it's kind of like it's a table, a three-legged table, but missing a leg. And that is why I am so passionate about what I'm doing. The Crystal's Kitchen is like this off on the side hobby because it's how I feed myself. And I think it's pertinent to all of you now. And I'm getting such great feedback. It's taking that form on its own. So, you know, those are some of the more serious sides of what people deal with when they're trying to tackle all of this. And I know that you can appreciate that, Kenny, because we've talked a lot. You're wearing the shirt mindset today. Crystal and I spent a lot of time together as her life changed because of becoming pregnant and becoming a mom. And, you know, I'm just, you know, watching you guys, it's like, I'm actually getting a little emotional right now because it's people come to me for they think one thing.
Yeah.
And they realize that they've left with something completely different.
Yeah, it's funny. We were talking, Aaron, who you met today, you know, before we talked about that. And he was just saying is people just, they don't get started. Like, and the thing is like why we have this show and Value Add is that like Crystal and I are okay talking about our relationships and being open and talking about all this stuff. And and so many people, what we were talking about, are having a tough time having a conversation with the person that they've been 20 years with in their life across the table, on the couch, in the bed. They can't even, they maybe they're struggling. We're like, hey, I've got clothes in the closet, and that person needs to lose weight for a health issue, but they can't even tell them, they're not even comfortable to tell them how to lose the weight. Yeah. But we were talking about that is because they don't even have the tools and the experience to have the conversation. Yeah. And for you, like he was saying, he's had a crazy life. It's going to be a great podcast to listen to, but crazy life, crazy story, kind of like a David Goggins.
Awesome.
And and that's what I was saying is he was saying, I'm not smart about this. I'm like, no, but you have experience. Like you have experience. And that's what I said is of eating healthy for 30 years. And most people fluctuate. Like, and even for me, I'm like, man, I can't even eat healthy for a straight week without cheating. That's just me. But I'm willing to go. But I'll go run 10 miles in a week and kill myself. But I know when I cheat a couple days, I'm like, you're paying the price. Go run the stairs, do this. But I know I need to do that. But you're right though. People can't even just the 3 sets of clothes. It's not even. It's a mindset. They can't even break and say get rid of them, make the set, go, and never look back. And then you see people in the gym that are working it down that are just so committed because they're like whatever it was. Maybe somebody in their. Sometimes you need the scare.
Yeah,
so,
and
oftentimes
it's the fear. It is a scare. Oftentimes
it's a fear.
Family member
fear.
or
it's
somebody,
fear-based.
you know, that
some sort of health scare,
or that person in your head.
Yeah.
That's usually the thing in their head that's beating them. You can't do this. You're never going to do it. You know, all this.
Yeah. And I'm here to help those people that are really serious about change.
Yeah.
You know, it's not for the faint of heart. It's, you know, and I don't mean it that way in a disrespectful way. I mean it in a qualifying way that when people are really wanting to make those changes and they're committed, those are the conversations we have initially. And so I am available to help, and I want to help people in all those facets. And it just kind of has morphed into all those things over time, because when you really look at people's lives and you understand that we've all gone through ups and downs and personal things and business, and we're all trying to keep it together, but many times, you know, behind closed doors, they're struggling because they can't throw away the clothes, or there's a multitude of things we could talk about. But again, it's about adding value and showing people that there's experts out there to help them in an area that they might not be well versed in. And just like I'm not well versed in filming myself, so I hired a crew. I got your guys' crew, which is awesome. And so it's those kind of things, you know, you just break it down, you keep it simple, and you recruit the people that are well versed in the areas that you're not.
It's so funny because Aaron said the same thing about having the team. Aaron was the big thing about the team. It's true, right? Setting yourself up.
Tell Mitch. Somebody's got to go, babe.
Oh, okay. How can people find you and learn more about nutrition and hiring you and stuff like that? And then are you, with the new stuff coming out in June, are you going to be, do you already have, like if somebody hires you now, is something going to change from June to now, or you already have it?
My programs are already in place.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, my programs are already in place. So you can find me at crystallowry.com. My first name spelled out Crystal, last name Lowery, Lowery. So you can find me Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. I do have the Crystal's Kitchen Instagram handle as well. And I have 2 YouTube channels. The Crystal's Kitchen is really in the beta stages as far as getting the content up. But by June, we'll have some content up. And so then I'll be, definitely leaking out that, subscribers can go over there and so they can get those recipes. But the programs are already in place. If someone, wants to work with me, standalone nutrition or more of the health coaching, all it does is, to reach out to me through the platforms that I have, send me a message and let me know you'd like to schedule a consult. The consult is not going to cost you anything. It's an interview between you and I. Find out if we're a good fit, find out what your goals are and how I can best help you. And we hit the ground running. It's like no joke. I just started working with a client that lives in Texas. So you don't have to be local.
Okay, cool.
It can all be done via the phone. It can be done through FaceTime. It can be done through Zoom and email. Most of my clients are not local anymore. Just like you guys, I've kind of created a business that can be done anywhere and, really help people anywhere they're at in their life.
And at the end of the day, you build something for them, and then you're really there just to be accountable for that person that just is having trouble going, that has the 3 different outfits or 3 different sizes. It's like, we got to get them out of that. It's because they got to get out of the mindset.
Yeah. As a coach, I can lay the plan. It's their job as a student or the athlete to execute the plan. But I'm there for them to lean into, because oftentimes it's not their spouse or their significant other or their best friend that's going to be that one that really, holds them to what they signed up to do. It's the person that, cares enough about them but has an unbiased opinion but knows what their deep goals are, because often they share it with me and not someone else that they've been married to for 20 years.
Yep.
I'm a coach.
You're there to call the plays and make sure that they stay on track.
And I love doing it.
Yeah.
It changes people's lives.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So.
Cool. Well, guys, today we talked about the shit food that we have in front of us. Let's see, to wrap it up is, don't look at ingredients. Do not look at all the organic and the gluten-free and all this, because honestly, that really doesn't mean anything.
And the percentage of fat and all that.
If you don't understand what you're reading, probably don't buy it. If you're going to drink alcohol, liquor's better. I was right and you're wrong.
Straight liquor.
Avoid all the sugars and the preservatives. That's where you're better off.
If you're going to shred, bulk up and all that, it really comes down to your weight and then backing it in from there.
Math and science.
Yep, math and science.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would say at the end of the day, it's going to come down to your mindset. And if you're not going to be perfect. There's no way. Nobody's going to be perfect. Crystal just is not going to be perfect, but she knows that
She eats a tortilla once a month.
95% of the time she won't. If she cheats, she probably feels guilty and goes out and works harder the next day.
The good news is I don't feel guilty, and I don't do that.
And by the next time she comes on here, she will know how to make a healthy white Russian.
Yes.
For our film crew.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Well, awesome, you guys. I can't thank you enough for having me on
Yeah,
again.
that was fun.
And contributing to, not only your audience, but the audience that we haven't even met yet through the networking and doing what we do. So thanks again. And
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
awesome stuff.
I'm sure everybody got some nuggets out of it today.
Absolutely.
Cool.
I got some.
Thanks,
Go throw
Crystal.
that away.
Thanks, you
I know.
guys.
Your mom bought it. Bye.